Hello and welcome to another edition of All About Berea. I'm Chad Hembry.
And I'm Beth Myers.
Joining us here at Mario's Pizza for our first live show. That is a live show in front of a live audience, that is. We've got Mr. Bob New back with us. Thanks, Bob, for being here.
Good to be back.
And you've got some fancy news for us, I understand?
I hope so.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And, of course...
Nothing dirty. That's the stuff I like.
Jonathan Shinhofen here with us as well.
Hey, guys.
And... we've got a couple of guests that will be joining us today on the show. The first one is Jimmy Lou Jackson. She's actually going to come in here and talk to us for a little bit. And after that, we'll be joined by the magistrate, Larry Combs, who's going to be
pulling out the heavy hitters today.
Yeah,
Ted.
we lined them up. We're going to line them up and knock them out. But before we get on with any of that, we're going to go straight on with 4 things you should know.
Thanks, Chad. On 4 things you should know. First, the Churchill Company that purchased the old Churchill Weavers building made a presentation to Berea City Council on Tuesday and unveiled their ideas and dreams for the building. The West family are the directors of the Churchill Company. That would be Bill and his son Dee, who made the presentation. They want the building to serve as a home for several different small businesses that reflect the culture and heritage of Berea and the larger Appalachian area. 5 businesses have already committed to rent space once they go through the zoning issues as well as get the pass by the fire marshal. Warren Bruner is going to take out a space for his archival photographs, and they're looking at a fine dining restaurant, Overbees, also to be placed there. They also stated that they will be providing 2 incubator spaces for artists and also one for a new business that won't pay rent for 4 to 6 months. There had been a lot of requests for large venue spaces for crowds of over 300 to 400, and Bill West said they would be interested in offering that if they would stay booked enough where the space would pay for itself. The Berea Municipal Utilities received a $488,000 planning grant from the National Resources Conservation Service to look at how to fix the Owsley Fort Dam. The dam had been designated high hazard months ago because of all the people who are living close to it. The grant process is first you get the planning grant, then they can apply for the design grant, and then finally a construction grant. There is going to be some complications, however, because the utilities company in Berea also has to look at increasing the amount of raw water for the city. So reconstruction of the dam without considering that issue could either make the situation the same or worse. So the city of Berea is hoping they can work with the NRCS and perhaps get grant money for adding water volume as well. Madison Southern Principal David Gilliam announced that he will be leaving the school to take a position at the Madison County Schools Central Office. He will be the new Chief Academic Officer and Assistant Superintendent. Gilliam has been with Southern for 22 years, ever since he graduated from EKU. He also did his student teaching at the school. He has been principal since 2007. To assist in the transition, the school district appointed Donna Caldwell as interim principal. She was an assistant principal there at Southern a year ago. She served 2 years before taking a position at the central office. Teachers have expressed their gratitude that she's going to help with the transition since Gilliam started his new position on August 1st. This is going to be a very quick change for students, parents, and teachers. The 4th annual Berea Celtic Festival will be taking place from August 15th to 18th. This festival will be bringing in Celtic musicians from more than 10 states. They'll be leading dances, concerts, and workshops around the city, primarily also in the Berea Center of the Arts. People can check the website www.berea-celtic.com for more information. And that is 4 things you should know.
Well, thank you very much.
Did you know them?
Actually, yes, I think I did know all of them this week. I don't know them all every
Bill,
week.
Jonathan, did you know them?
I know them now.
Or Bob, sorry. There's that whole Bill West thing and stuck in my head.
Okay, let's start off talking about Bill West for a minute. Of course, we got to watch the presentation yesterday, and I had no idea. Did you know there are 7 different areas in that building that are rooms larger than a basketball court?
Yeah, it's huge. It's humongous property and buildings.
No, I had no idea.
Now there's 5 things I didn't know.
They actually took me on a tour of the building after they bought it, and I was completely lost. I mean, they were taking me up, and then they have different floors. I mean, the space, you can't even conceive of it.
Well, I just had no idea the building was that large.
Well, they just let us into, see the weavers as long as we wouldn't talk to them, and that was it. We went in there and we went out.
And I should say another interesting thing is they are applying for the national to be on the historic national registry. And the interesting thing about this in Berea is Churchill Weaver's building is in East Berea precinct. So if they get the National Historic Registry, any restaurant that's in that area can serve alcohol
Legally.
because of the alcohol one that passed. So I found that very interesting when they said, and I really can't see them having any problem getting on the National Historic Registry. I mean, there's a ton of stuff they can show that it's historically relevant. It's,
Everyone knows Churchill Weavers.
Yeah, and it was one of the first industries, one of the biggest textile industries in the country, so I'm sure they'll get it. So when he said that and then talked about this 100-plus seat restaurant, Overby's of fine dining, I'm like, we might have a restaurant with alcohol in Berea.
And fine dining.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting. And of course, if anybody wants to take a tour of the place, he had a gracious offer. You just call up there, and if you want to know what's going on, think you might want to be involved, they're looking at all kinds of businesses to be involved with this, from lawyers' offices to tradesmen to what else did he say? Restaurants. They had a couple agriculture ideas.
He really wants to do an agriculture piece. Basically, what he said is he's not he wants a diverse mix. His thought when looking at businesses is that they reflect a certain culture, a certain community of Berea, in what they do, and are reflective of the community. And I know a lot of people had their buzz after the meeting, and you probably were hearing some too, Chad. Is this is how could this ever happen? But the fact is, it does happen in places. They create, like in Charleston with the slave market. I mean, they'll create a huge location like this that becomes a destination in itself. And he's done this a long time. I mean, this guy has been doing entrepreneurial business development for years and years.
And I wouldn't trust anyone else in town to do any better than him. But my concern still is that this is a smaller town than most every other place that he showed us that had a similar type business. So, and then he even spoke to that. He said that he knew that we would have to get outside people in. It would have to be a destination because locally we couldn't support something that large. It's like putting a mall in Berea.
And he also said it'll be interesting to see about the venue thing, because he said he was surprised how many people have asked to use it for venues, weddings and such, because he said people are asking us, well, can you take crowds of 300 and 400? And he's like, well, I didn't know there were crowds of 300 to 400 in Berea. And they said, well, there's not, because there's no place to put crowds. They have to go elsewhere.
Well, and how long have we been talking about needing a venue? They've been talking about a community center because they wanted a bigger venue. And so,
and you look at the places that are now going to the Armed Forces building in Richmond. Because of what they don't have in Berea, it's like, well, could we pull back Stepping Out for the Arts? Could we pull back Run for the Roses, or however you guys are? I'm sorry, I forget what Hospice Care Plus is calling that now, but it's like, could we pull those venues back? And I was sitting by Bill Jackson, the tourism director of Berea, who actually turned to me and said she can't have one of the big meetings they have for the tourism commissioners because there's not the space.
Well, and I don't know how you would do this research, but we don't know how many people to the south of us just go to Richmond. I mean, it's not just Bereans going to Richmond, but if you live in Rockcastle County and you want to do something big, you probably have to go to Richmond. So
maybe we should do a feasibility study.
I think Bob should do it.
I know you're wanting to talk about that, but we're going to hold off on that. I'll tell you,
I'm sorry, was that sarcasm, Bob?
It's the gala on Derby Eve.
Oh, thank you, Jed.
Yes.
Gala on Derby Eve. It's been Run for the Roses so long,
That's
it's like
right.
imprinted in my brain.
Well, they wanted to class it up a little bit, and it was classy. It was really neat, and I've never seen the Armed Services building look so nice, but it would be nice to be able to have those kinds of things in Berea. We actually cannot, I work with hospice, and we cannot have our staff Christmas parties in Berea because there's nowhere that will hold us. We tried Boone Tavern, but they separate us into separate rooms, because you can't. And then no matter what,
Well, you don't.
if
You
you're
don't
at Boone
like each other
Tavern
anyway, right?
and you're in that big of a group, if you're in the back room, you're a third-class citizen. If you're behind the pillars, you're a second-class citizen. If you're up front, you're first class. There's no way to get around from that happening because you're really not part of the group, right? It's and that kind of segregation doesn't work, for a large
Well,
group.
and then they have the historic card they can play for people doing venues. You can be at the beautiful former Churchill Weavers. I mean, I think it's exciting. Entrepreneurs are a different breed. They're certainly not like, I couldn't do it. I'm way too cautious, but
Is the building in pretty good shape on the inside?
yeah, what they're actually doing is called reverse renovation. They're taking out everything that's been added since like the 60s and going back to the original work. Their biggest thing, and they mentioned this at Berea City Council, is the glass. Like, I think they counted, 90,000 different panes of glass. And then they said, I'm sorry, I'm going way too outrageous.
Yeah.
9,000, yeah. That 90 would be, it's big.
But can you imagine 9,000
they would-
panes of glass?
They have to take them, clean them, put them back. It's like an incredibly complicated, expensive process. So he talked about the glass and also the safety issues that the fire marshal is going to look at. They'll have to see about that as far as, air water exits, if they're going to do this multi-use thing with all these businesses in there, are there going to be enough entrances and exits? It's built to be a factory. So I had a different design in mind. But I think as far as when I talked to him about kind of the foundation and those kind of issues, it's solid.
Pretty sound.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, we'll have this more on the principal and more on the dam later because I know both of those things are going to come up later.
You said damn.
The Celtic Festival. When's that coming up? That's like next weekend, right?
Right. Starting next Thursday, August 15th.
And we'll have that in the calendar as well, so we can talk about that a little later.
Sure.
All right.
It's not in the calendar, but I will put it in there just for you.
All right, you're listening to All About Berea. We're live at Mario's Pizza. We're going to take a quick break here and switch out and get Jimmy Lou Jackson in here with us. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, can we come to take a photo? I forgot to bring a camera.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to All About Berea. We have just had a quick switch out here, and Bob has stepped aside to eat some more pizza while Jimmy
It's like
Lou
we're on the
Jackson-
Tonight Show,
That's right.
They have to move down the couch.
Jimmy Lou Jackson has come in to join us, and we were looking forward to getting you on here for a couple of reasons. I mean, you're multi-talented. You're a fantastic artist.
Keep talking, baby.
She's listening. Keep on.
And you're the best one-string
Gut bucket.
gut bucket player
I am good on a gut bucket.
That's right,
Uh-huh.
and a beautiful singer.
Well,
I didn't know you sang too, Jimmy. See, that's something I didn't know.
if somebody else gets me started in the right key, I'm good.
No, actually, I really did enjoy listening to you in Hee Haw. That was great.
It's great
And-
fun. That's good down home humor that I can get into. It was sort of typecasting,
Now, I don't know. If I'm,
I haven't finished talents here. Primarily, though, it's that every time I'm around her, I leave in stitches. I love to go down to her shop just to get her started on a story because
Is she
she's got
that
more
violent?
stories than hardly anyone I know.
You're not letting Jonathan give his little one-liners, Chad.
Come on, Jonathan.
He's starting to pout.
that's all right.
we don't care. No pouting in radio. All
right.
Because we can't see that. when we're leaving.
pouting in radio.
No pouting. No. So. Am I here to entertain, or am I here for you all to just ask me questions about?
Well, we'll start asking you questions and we'll see where it goes. How's that?
Okay. Get entertaining.
And that was my
It might
first.
very well get entertaining.
That was my first question. I don't know if I'm the only Yankee in the room, but could you please describe for those of us who don't know exactly what a gut bucket is?
A gut bucket is a one-stringed instrument made with a wash tub and
I know what that is.
a broomstick and a piece of clothesline.
All right.
And you screw the clothesline in with a bracket into the bucket,
Right in the middle of it.
right in the middle of it, and then you take the broom handle, set it on the edge, and you bounce it up and down and pluck the gut bucket.
Sounds good.
It's all one note.
I can't believe you didn't have her bring this.
And what, you have to put a little brick or something usually under it,
Yeah,
right?
or
have to
you
get
set your foot on it.
Set your foot on it. Okay.
So what do you play? Concertos?
Well, I play, what was it? You get a line, I get a pole, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those good old folk music things.
Right.
Folk tunes.
Well, it's fun to watch her, and you want to get involved. It's one of those things where it's very participatory.
Participatory.
Yeah. Whoa.
Whoa, that's a big
That's
word.
a big one.
We try to stay away from those words on this station.
We'll have to look that up in the dictionary.
See how many pronunciations
They
there are.
Well, aside from your talents in with the gut bucket, you are a glass worker, but you work with Italian art glass.
I do.
And your business is Hot Flash Beads.
When you're 52 years old and you start using a torch to melt glass and you can't tell if it's you or the torch that's the hottest, you call your business Hot Flash Beads. Now, we don't cure hot flashes because women are coming in there all the time looking for a cure, but we do make you look
Now,
cool
seriously,
while
Jimmy
you're
Lou, have you ever had anyone come in for a cure for hot flashes?
Yes, every day. I said if I had the formula, I'd have my own little island in the Caribbean. But we make you look cool while you're having them hot flashes, I'll tell you that.
That's right. Because
Yeah.
it's better to look good than feel good.
Oh, I tell you.
Your jewelry is a hit with my Christmas list every year because I can't go wrong if I get something from your place.
It's always different. Each piece is individually made. You can't see it at the Walmart. It won't be imported from China. It comes from this hot little country, what do you say, Appalachian artist. Does that
That's
sound
in
bad?
Europe, isn't it?
Well, artesian center, I guess.
Isn't that where they get water?
Yeah, that's exactly. And I see people come in all the time from the artesian center, and I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, we used to get tickled. It's like, don't try to overcomplicate it. It's an artisan center.
Artisan center.
So it's like you don't go shopping at Target.
Artesian. Oh, that is so cool.
That's it. That's what we're calling it. You heard it here first, guys.
All right, tell us about the process. Where your glass comes from? How?
Right. I use glass that comes from Murano, Italy. It's actually pulled into rods just for bead makers. They cut the glass in sections of about 3 meters long, and then we cut it into workable sections. It's solid glass rod, about 5 to 6 millimeters round. And for those of you who don't know, that's about the size of a pencil and a half, okay? And then I use a torch that'll reach temperatures close to 3,000 degrees, melt that glass, wind the hot glass up on a metal rod that's got a coating of clay on it. Clay coating keeps the hot glass from sticking to the metal rod. And then I put that, once I make the bead, it goes into a kiln overnight because we've got molecular issues. Because I have heated that glass up till its molecules are boogieing. I pull it out of the flame, and glass is what we call a supercooled liquid. It freezes at temperatures around 1,000 degrees, and that process is so quick that it traps the molecules in an odd position. So we need 950 degree temperature to let those molecules find their way back to where they belong, and then a slow cool down.
Where did you learn to do this?
I took a one-day class from a lady in Louisville, Kentucky. It was one of those situations. I've read an article in a magazine about glass bead making, and this lady came into the shop at the Honeysuckle Vine, and she had on a handmade glass bead. And I said, I want to learn how to do that. She said, I'm getting ready to teach a class, and I'll call you when I'm ready. So it was like, okay, here we are.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Before that, I was screening pap smears, and that's an awful job. This was mental health.
From pap to hot flash.
Telling you.
So if I
And
come,
it's a bad sense of humor that you get when you do that kind of stuff.
if I come down, will you teach me how to play the gut bucket?
I would show you how to play the gut, but I can't stand on one foot anymore. I got too old. So I've just had the best time. Am I causing problems? Okay, we're good. I am. I've tore up their electric stuff.
Yeah. All the guests do.
Oh, it's all over now.
All the guests do. We have
Yeah, it's my electrical personality. There
It
you
was
go.
one of those jobs where I knew I couldn't do it with one hand, so I had my wife.
Wife
My,
come
my
and help.
lovely assistant came
Yeah.
over to help me. And now we hear you much better. So, that's good.
Right.
So you took a one-day class.
Took a one-day class, and I it just like, oh, I love this. I've always been fascinated with glass. I was one of those kids that played with marbles, and a girl wasn't supposed to play with marbles when I was growing up, And
You beat the pants off all those boys.
honey, I whooped them.
I knew it.
I took everything they had, marbles and all. And so
Still haven't gotten rid of all them pants and shirts in the closet.
I'm telling you.
During those days.
I'm not going there. But anyway, I ended up being fascinated by the process. Started doing this as mental health because under the stress of working, looking for cancer cells, basically is what I was doing. And if I made a mistake, you had to bury it. So I could come home and play with the glass, and if I made a mistake with that, I could throw it away.
Yes.
Right.
So this was, like I say, mental health.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because it's turned into more than a hobby.
It paid my health insurance for 10 years, let's put it that way. That was a big hunk of money.
Now, your shop is located in Old Town.
I'm in Old Town, right next to the train depot. My sister and I are in business together at the shop's called the Honeysuckle Vine, and we started out together there. And what we wanted to do in Berea was let a family of 4 come to Berea and take something home that was interesting and well-made and they could afford. Because at that time, it was all high-end crafts here in Berea, really the
Yeah, really,
furniture
it priced a lot of people out.
priced
yeah.
a lot of people out of the buying market. So we had everything from $3 items up to $25 to $35 items, and that's when we started.
And I still frequent, like when we're going to have a guest somewhere or something, or I just want to have a little gift if I'm staying somewhere, I can go get a cutting board or something made from your all shop very quickly and not
Great-
have to, yeah.
Great bread and butter gifts, they
Yes,
are.
yes.
We have it. So.
Well, and of course, there's, you almost hate to bring it out because it's such a buzz, but I know there's been hard to see some of the artists down there in Old Town leaving.
Well, some folks are leaving, but we've got new blood in there too, so it's it's working for a lot of people. Like the puppet folks, they're going to be up at the old theater building, and
Where the Berea Center for the Arts
Real
is,
Center
right?
for the Arts, and so it was a good thing for them. And Michelle is going to be working at home. I'm sorry, she is the glass blower, but she does a lot of wholesale business, so she's going to be working out of her home. So,
Okay.
but there'll be somebody that'll come in and looking for a place. We're always looking for a place for somebody to
Well, I was your
come
neighbor
in.
for several years.
Yeah, right down around the corner.
Yeah.
there.
That's right. You were talking about going over to the little diner at the corner.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, we'd like to have a nice restaurant down there.
Now, see, when I was there, it was like a little micro community.
Yeah,
I could eat there. I could shop there. The only thing I couldn't do is buy something to drink, except
Yeah.
to go to the restaurant. Like there was no little store.
Well,
No
you
one
still
sold-
can't buy something to drink in Berea, can you?
I knew that's where that was going.
Yeah. It's not the fun drinks
No,
that we're
that's-
talking about.
There wasn't a single bootlegger on that street.
Well, maybe there was.
You
You
know
just
it.
didn't know there
Now
was.
there's your micro business, buddy.
You know what I learned when I came to Kentucky was that nobody would admit to being a bootlegger, but everyone knew a bootlegger. So I was like,
Yeah.
there's these bootleggers
There's-
around
yeah,
here. So
And we were in Rockcastle County. so-
yeah.
Right. Well, you could ask Mr. Combs. He knew who they were, and they did a
Larry, who the bootleggers now?
they rated them every so often just to keep them honest.
Yeah.
I know that happened. Mr. Belcher, I think y'all got him about once every month or so. And I went, he put a bunch of kids through school selling party favors.
I like that. Party
And they were the favorite favors of the party.
Speaking of gifts for people out of town, I entertained my parents' New Year's Eve party guests once with some authentic Kentucky
Country
product.
moonshine. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big hit there.
It's pretty strong. You have to cut that stuff or you'll.
Well, you should tell them what happened when you were going to get on the plane.
No, I'm not going to tell that story.
They made him take a swallow of it for security
for
reasons.
security purposes.
So
Yeah.
he was a little loopy on the flight.
that fear of flying, no, that's all gone.
Well, I misplaced my boarding pass right after that.
Of course you did.
And my head was swimming, and I was thinking, they are going to find out that something's going on here. I'm going to get busted.
Busted. But if it didn't have a tax sticker on it, you were illegal, my dear.
I know. That's the only illegal thing I've ever done, I swear.
Oh, yeah, right.
He used to be
We
an
know
altar
about you
boy.
Yankees.
In another
We
life.
call them carpetbaggers.
I ain't making no money down here, I'll tell you that.
Oh, so you're not only you're a carpetbagger, but you're bad at it.
Bad
You're
carpet-
horrible carpet-
That is pitiful.
I remember we were in Charleston. Was that guy said? Learned Jonathan was a Yankee and said, "Yeah, I remember that. I don't call it the Civil War because we didn't find much civil about it in the South."
It was, Kentucky was an interesting place though during the Civil War. It was neutral basically, and so it makes
An official border state, right?
Of course, we were the we were the Switzerland of the Americas.
We even have mountains, right?
That's right.
That's right. Now, you grew up in Berea,
I
right?
did.
So can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Berea? Yeah.
Well, when I was growing up here, I lived on Boone Street. My great-grandfather settled there, and right where we call it the Jackson Compound. We was too poor to get out of town, so we've lived in the same place since before the Civil War. And I grew up on Boone Street, and at that time they had the east end of town and the west end of town. And the east end of town, the folks at the east end were college professors and people who had money, and the west end of town were people who had children. So we, we didn't mesh a whole lot. We didn't socialize a whole lot together.
You even had a train tracks to
Yeah.
split the two areas.
Pretty much, I was just on this side of the tracks,
Right.
yeah. But we had the Berea Foundation was the high school for the professors' children and for kids who came out of the mountains and lived in Berea as because they couldn't get to school in where they grew up. And then we had the Berea High School. They called it Fruit Jar because during some kind of board meeting, somebody got agitated with somebody else and they threw a fruit jar full of water at them, and so it was called Fruit Jar High. So I went to Fruit Jar and graduated in 1961. And I can remember when we had a dime store, and when they put in Perky's.
Yeah, Chestnut Street had that was all shops.
Perky's was our high-rise building.
We lived there.
You'd go up and get on the roof.
Yeah, Beth and I lived there. That
We
was our
did.
first apartment in Berea.
It was a high-rise building in Berea at that time. There was
Very swanky.
Yeah, Wayman's department store, and then there was Ingles and Upton Drug Store. It was all East End.
Pennington, right?
Pennington, yeah. So it was cool. It was a neat little town. We had a policeman that helped us across the street every day to go from one side of town to the other when we were going to school, and that was my grandfather. He helped the kids across the street. It was just a slow pace of life here, but what was really hard on us is that there was no I-75, and every car going north or south came right through the middle of Berea. And it was kind of fun, though, because when Tennessee played Kentucky, we'd stand on the corner out there. And let's just say we'd harass them a little bit. But I grew up.
Yeah, because everybody. Well, when was 25? Would you had 25 then?
We had US 25.
So that's how people were getting back and forth.
Yeah, it was. It followed the Boone Trail. It was where Daniel Boone came right through. He came down the brushy fork of Silver Creek, right down where Boone Street is, basically, and up to town. So the US 25 sort of mirrored that the Wilderness Road, and we knew that. We played on Boone Street. We'd play under the street light and just play out in the road. There wasn't any much going on up and down the road.
it was safe. Yeah, we didn't have to worry about fast traffic
Mother had a square dance group. We had about two different square dance groups, and I called for them. We danced and we won some state championships, and so we had a good time. Square dancing. I mean, the old traditional mountain clogging style, not the running step. I mean, you danced till you couldn't dance no more, and then when you passed out, somebody took your place, you know.
Just swept you to the side.
Yeah.
And then you went on to, like you said, to work in a job where you...
Right. I actually went to Berea College, and while I was at Berea College, my student labor was at the hospital laboratory. And from there, I went from laboratory in Berea College to a laboratory in Lexington, and I worked there until I could get formal training. But I was doing everything everybody else did, but just didn't get the money for it because I didn't have a degree, kind of thing. And then I went on and went to Detroit and did my training up there. Came back and saved a lot of lives and stomped out some disease in East Kentucky.
Well, there you go.
So I have been in Berea. One of my great-grandfathers was an abolitionist, came to Berea in the 1850s to educate his children here, and that was Christopher Blanton. And he had a big farm out at the end of Haytie Road.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that Blanton name. That comes up a lot.
Yeah, and that he was, like I say, an abolitionist, and he was driving cattle down through Paint Lick and met the farmer's daughter, and the farmer had slaves, and so when he married the farmer's daughter, there was a big rift in the family, and she was given slaves and a silver tea set, which she freed her slaves and gave a silver tea set to Berea College. So,
what a great story.
Isn't that a great story?
That's a great story.
And then the other great-grandmother, this is another cool thing, the one that lived on Boone Street, he had a brickyard down there where we still live. And my great-grandmother was a nurse at the Battle of Richmond during the Civil War. And in her obituary, it mentions that she served at that capacity there at the church there there on the battlefield.
Wow.
So we have a long history. Like I said, we're too poor to get out of town.
Well, now you made it to Detroit for a little while. That's the only time you lived away?
Yeah, who wants to live? That was a real thrill.
No wonder she came running back here.
Isn't that supposed to be Detroit?
No, up there they say Detroit. But, when I came home, Daddy said, "You sound like a damn Yankee." Well, the thing is...
One word, damn Yankee.
You're never leaving the Jackson compound again.
Oh, no, honey. I went up there and I pulled up to a service station and I told the guy, "Fill it up." And he looked at me. He said, "Ma'am, sir, what?" I said, "Fill it up." He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, "Fill it up." And he knew exactly. Fill it up, yeah. Put gas in the car. Yeah, that's when we had people who put gas in cars,
Yeah.
You didn't have to pump it yourself.
I wondered if he thought you was asking him out or something.
Yeah. Well, it was something when I asked for ice.
Somebody just asked.
That's when he got offended. But I came back to Berea, and I worked in Somerset, worked in Lexington, but I lived in Berea. This is, my territorial imperative. I'm not going to live anywhere else if I can help it.
Great. Fantastic. Well, we appreciate you coming in and enjoyed your stories and
As always.
and love your business and support you 100%. We, of course, Hot Flash Beads on Old Town, North Broadway, and you can find that. What are your hours down there?
We're there 9:30 to 5 every day, except I don't work on Sunday. I go pray for profit.
So 6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Meaning with attention
but
to profit.
I do. There's somebody there on Sunday though to does take care of it for us.
Oh, okay. So you're open all
7 days a week.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for being
Thank
here.
you for asking
and we
me.
appreciate
Thanks,
you being
Jimmy
here.
Lou.
Thank y'all.
Hello and welcome welcome back. You're listening to All About Berea and Chad Hembry, and here with Beth Myers and now Bob News back with us, and joining us also special guest, our magistrate, Mr. Larry Combs. Thanks for being here, Larry.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
We had been wanting to get you down here because I think originally it was a joke that somebody had asked a question, and I said, we don't have to work on rumors. We can get the man himself. We don't have to operate like that.
Well, I'm glad you got that much confidence in me.
Well, no.
Now, Larry, I'll tell you, Chad was actually threatening to go to the older sister to try to get you on the show.
Yeah, I said if he doesn't come, I'll just tell Jane and she'll make him come.
She pulled
I'm sure
the
she could
big
answer
sister
for
card if
So
he had to.
I know the big sister, so
She probably could answer for me. She's been around me a long
Yeah,
time.
she'll just come.
that's the way it works in small towns, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for being here again. And we were going to ask you just a few questions. You gave us a little card here, but I'll let you tell your own story. First of all, you've been serving here for
32 years.
that is a long time in government.
Long time. The card says it all there. I've served longer than anyone in Commonwealth of Kentucky.
And before that, you were a police officer, correct?
Yes, and I thought your guest was going to tell something on me, and I'm glad she didn't. But
Oh, that kill switch did work on Jimmy.
Hey, we're pretty famous for getting stories told on people around here.
she's a hard act to follow. But you know, Chad, when I was a police officer, as in the 70s, about all we had then was we'd arrest the oldest and take him to jail on the weekends. But
Yeah.
you see where we've gone now.
Oh,
So, it was a good job, and I got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people, and maybe that's where I am today because of that.
And of course, after that, you went on, and you've been pretty much just in the magistrate position the entire time.
And yes,
So, which is another thing phenomenal. You know, a lot of times people step up, or they change, or whatever. But you've been very consistent.
How many judge executives have you served under?
Three.
Larry? Three.
Yeah.
3.
So now you have decided to throw your hat into the ring for judge executive. The timing is right for you, apparently.
Well, I feel like the timing's right now. To be honest with you, I wanted to run the last time, but the timing wasn't right. My wife was very sick at that time, which she did pass away, and then Jerry, my twin brother, wanted to run for sheriff, so I told him that was fine with me, and he even told me he wouldn't run. And I said, no, if you want to run, you've got the backing, and that's what I done. And of course, you know, Jerry's been gone now for about 3 months, but doing a fabulous job, and I just hope it continues, and I'm sure it will. His goal was that he was going to be a people's person, and that's exactly what you get when you get identical twins. I'm a people's person, and that's what I plan on doing. And you know, I have no crow to pick with anybody that's running, or if they run or if they don't. I don't care. I'm running. I think I can bring a new concept to Madison County, especially in the judge's office. There's a lot of things that I would change. Sure.
Okay. And one of the things that was brought up to us, and one of the questions that was asked, and I don't know how to step around it too much, other than, did you get angry when they appointed the new sheriff?
I didn't get angry. No, I was disappointed that the judge didn't even call me. And matter of fact, he didn't even call Jerry's wife or none of the family, if you want to know the truth. And no, I'm not angry. I mean, that's his decision, and I think he made a good decision. I will say that. Mike.
Well, yeah, this had nothing to do with Mike.
No,
I understand.
absolutely not. And but you know, he could at least call me in and ask me what I thought about it, and chances are it probably ended up the way it was. But no, I'm not mad at all.
Well, that was the rumor that Bob was talking about. He had heard that might have been what had prompted you to run for judge. But now you're saying that you already thought about it.
Oh
last
yeah,
time.
I would run the last time had it not been the circumstances, and the timing just wasn't right. And I feel like it is this time, and hopefully it is. Jerry ran, he won, he beat the incumbent. So you know, twins, they're a lot alike. So maybe I'll be the incumbent if they run.
Yeah. Well, you both won. You won your magistrate run too, so it's not like you didn't win something.
Well, I was thinking about the judge. So.
Well, now the judge serves 4 years,
That's correct, and the magistrate does also.
and that's correct.
And 1 year, we had a 5-year term to try to get everybody in cycle together.
Okay, I remember that now.
Yeah.
That wasn't too long ago.
No, it hadn't been that long ago.
Now, Larry, you won't need to step down as magistrate to run for judge, though, right?
Well, no, I don't need to step down, but should I run and get beat, I'm out of office, because you can't run for 2 offices at the same time.
Right.
And they run the same time the magistrate.
Right, unless you were in a magistrate term that didn't
Correct.
run at the same time as county
Correct,
judge.
yes.
Right. So you're not looking at the magistrate, well, I'll still have that. I mean,
This is like
you're
Texas
putting
Hold'em
everything in
all
the
in.
pit. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em, all in.
Bob, did you have some questions for it?
I just had a question for Larry. That's something that I wasn't sure about. So you said when the judge appointed Mike, he didn't consult with you, or he didn't consult with any of the other magistrates either. He just did it.
He did. I can't answer for the other magistrates, but I'd say no. But he did not.
I
he
would
didn't.
personally, I would think that would be like a fiscal court. You know, he could at least.
Well, Bob, that's one reason that I guess I'm running because, and I don't mean to sound negative to anybody, and if I do, I apologize to them, but the judge has one vote just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he does have appointments that the magistrates don't have, but every matter that's brought up should be brought before the Madison County Fiscal Court. After all, we have 4 magistrates, and they make the decisions. I tell you what, a magistrate's really their main goal is. They control the purse strings of the county. Now, the judge does oversee daily affairs, but he shouldn't be making decisions himself, such as purchasing land, which has been done, was totally incorrect. Trading our annex off to somebody else, a good friend or something. Those things that's not right, and that's one reason I disagree on those points. I get along with Judge Clark, I really do.
But you think more things should come up for a vote instead of just being
absolutely.
decided by Judge Executive, right?
Well, why do you elect a representative if you're not going to have any say so? And every part of the county is different. Berea is a lot different from say the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th district. I can sit here today and smile from ear to ear. I'm the only master in Madison County that don't have a gravel road. And we got a big county. I did when I first took office, yes. But all the matters, especially when you're purchasing stuff or making big decisions, they should come before the Madison County Fiscal Court. And if I'm elected, that's exactly the way it'd be.
Yeah, at least on an advisory, just to discuss it and get other people's input, I would think.
Well, it doesn't ever hurt. It doesn't hurt to get someone's input. You may not agree with them, and there's some things that I don't agree with. It's just like when the city of Berea nominates someone to be on the board. We should honor that. That's their choice. And after all, the airport board, there was a little controversy, and it was handled wrong in the first place, and the court told the judge that, but he went ahead and done what he done, and he does have the authority to do that. But I'll say this, if I'm judge, I'll honor anything that the Berea puts up, whoever they put up, or Richmond puts up. They, after all, pay $10,000 just like the rest of us. So they should have a little input.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you would be elected, would you be the first Berean to actually be the Judge Executive?
No, Kent's Berean. He lives at Big
Oh, that's
Hill.
right.
Big Hill.
He's on
But
Big Hill. I'm sorry,
I don't
that
know if
is
that's his
Berea.
address. We've had a sheriff, we've had a jailer.
Yeah, it's about the 3rd time I've done that. Every time I say it, Teresa says, Beth, Kent's a Berean. I'm like, oh yeah, I always forget that.
Now, if you and Kent run in a primary and you win, you could possibly be running against another magistrate, Greg King, because I've heard rumors that he may run for judge on the Republican ticket. So we could actually have 2 magistrates running against each other for the judges.
It could be that we have 2 new magistrates, one way or the other. And
Yeah.
it could be 4, but I mean,
Yeah.
we definitely will have 2 if he does.
Yeah.
And my understanding is, Greg, he can't run for magistrate this time. I haven't really searched into that, but he told me that at the fair that he legally couldn't run because some way of his retirement with the city.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So are you the 2 seats that are coming up?
No, all 4 come up.
All 4 come up
Yes.
next year?
Yeah, we all run at the same time.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I thought you guys had staggered terms. Okay.
Now, back in the sheriff's election, Jerry beat O'Donnell in the primary.
Twice in 1 year.
Yes. So he beat him. He beat him in the primary. Okay, let's start there. And it's very uncommon for the incumbent to get beat in the primary, isn't it?
I hope not this time.
Well, no,
but
no.
yes, you're right.
But you're saying okay.
Yes,
I'm
you're
saying
right.
that's uncommon. I didn't say it's unheard of. So then he went on and ran a write-in.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it was a write-in campaign.
Write-in.
Yeah.
Now, could he have not been put on the regular ballot? Am I?
No, the filing deadline was over.
Oh, okay.
So after the filing deadline, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, he was I remember advertising in the paper during that time for the write-in campaign, because really you have to get people's
And you
attention
also
even more
had-
because your name's not going to be on there.
That's correct. And then you also had a Republican running at the same time, too. I think he's run the last 3 or 4 times.
But from what I remember, Jerry won that handily.
Oh, yeah.
It was like
hands
75%.
down. The primary was very close. It really
Yeah,
was. It was,
yeah.
it was very close. Jerry worked hard. I give him credit there. But I just wish he was still here.
Well, yeah, all of us do. He was doing a great job for us, and we miss him.
Well, drugs have took our country and our county, and it's not the meth is bad, but meth's not the leading thing anymore. It's heroin. It's the cheapest drug going. I talked to Jimmy Cornelison about it, and we've already had 2 or 3 deaths over heroin here in the county.
Yeah, I interviewed Mike Coyle after being announced sheriff, and that's what he was telling me, is that the heroin's coming back.
Yeah, actually, our police chief here in Berea was even talking about Gregory. So we're going to have him on here to talk about it a little more. But yeah, that's definitely an inexpensive drug, cheap drug, whatever you want to say it. Yeah, by comparison.
True.
So if I want to say when you win, no,
I like it. I like it.
I might turn around and say. But if you didn't win the primary, would you do a write-in like that? Would you try
no,
that?
no,
Because
no.
it almost seems impossible to me.
Well, there have been people that have won, but no, I wouldn't do that. To me, that's a sore loser. And I honor the people's vote, whoever they choose. I'll honor their vote.
Now, you being a magistrate down here for so many years, and you've won by a good margin for most of those elections.
Well, most of them. I didn't have opposition one time, but
Yeah.
it's good that you have opposition.
So I would think this end of the county wouldn't be your major concern. I'd say you might be focusing on the other end of the county.
Oh, I'm sure of that, and I feel good about the other end of the county because I have so many friends over the last 32 years, and I've served with several masters from the other end that will support me. And I've got a lot of good people out there, and some people don't want to say they're going to vote for me or whoever, and I get that feeling. I know that feeling, and I honor that feeling. But I'll be okay in the northern end of the county. I'll assure you that.
Well, he's got a lot of months to go here.
That's good.
I may have got started a little early, but I won't wear down. I promise you that.
Well, that's good. And I like that, even though people have started running a little early. This seems that to me this time, I haven't seen anything real negative. It's more like, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. Let's see what we can do.
I don't plan on running a negative campaign. I know there's going to be some issues that come up that were negative. I won't have anything to do with it. I'll assure you that. I mean, if someone wants to run the negative campaign, I'll join the club if they want me to, but I'd rather not. I don't, all that does is tear people down, and I don't support that.
Well, see, here's the problem I see with that in local politics is that you got to live in the same town afterwards.
Absolutely.
Or
Well,
same
a lot of
county,
times you've got to
you know.
work together.
Yeah,
Sure.
Or you end up,
Sure. And I don't mean to say anything negative to Judge Clark whatsoever. We've been friends a long time, but we just disagree, and we can disagree and still be friends. I can. I hope he can.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share before we move on subjects here?
Well, no. Go ahead.
Okay. Bob, you had actually had a couple of things you wanted to bring up. One was on this fancy.
Yeah, I got to go to Fancy Farm last Saturday down in Graves County, and it's a long way. Have you ever been down there, Larry?
Yes, sir, I have. It's
a
an
hoot.
experience.
It's a hoot now, I'll tell you. And some of the best barbecue I think I've ever had. This was the 133rd annual Fancy Farm.
Correct.
And it's put on by a little Catholic church down there, St. Jerome's. It started as their church picnic. And Senator McConnell and Allison Grimes was there. That was quite entertaining to hear them talk. And if you've never been, they have this stage and they have this pavilion and there's bleachers on each side, and all the Republicans sit on one side, all the Democrats on the other, and they heckle each other, and the speakers actually. They get
The county political fair.
It's kind of all in good fun, isn't it, Larry?
Oh, yeah, it's always.
But they harass each other and
Is there any throwing of produce, Paul?
no, there's no throwing anything, but they'll have people have signs that they've made. And it's a
It's
lot
experience, and if you ever get the opportunity, it'll come back in November, so it'll be, it's really good if you go, and really it's probably good that they do separate them, because they probably would be fine.
This way it stays verbal.
But to bring it, what I really wanted to bring that up about it is on a local note. Our representative Jonathan Shell for the 36th district. Jonathan is a young guy. He's a freshman this year. Is his first term. When Jonathan ran, I would say, Jonathan, do you have a Twitter account or anything? No, I'm not fooling with that social media stuff. I'd rather be knocking on doors. Well, now he is all over Twitter. And
By how things
Oh,
change.
the mighty have fallen.
And he got on Instagram. And on Instagram, you can make these little short videos. They're like 15 seconds or whatever videos.
Like Vine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Jonathan decided he was going to document his first trip to Fancy Farm with these little short videos. Well, he came up with a thing called an Instamentary. It's an Instagram documentary. And it's actually a term that he coined.
Okay.
And so he started out.
So once again, you've heard it here, folks.
That's right. And so he started out making these little videos. He started actually the day before he left. And he was talking to me, he had a video that I'm going to do this and I'm going to document my first trip, and you can watch it all here on my Instagram. The next day, the day that he left, of course, Jonathan's a farmer. He had this video of, like, he was holding his phone up, and it was the front of a tractor driving down the side of the road. And he's going, here I am on my way to Fancy Farm on his tractor.
Be attractive.
And he had his wife, and they videoed the kids in the car. And he documented this entire thing. When I got down there Saturday, I ran into him, and the media people were coming up to him and interviewing him about this. And he actually was like a rock star down there. I mean, people coming up and just talking about how funny his videos were. So if you go to a website, bluegrassconservative.com, we've taken that and all his videos and put them all in chronological order on there. So people who doesn't have an Instagram account can go on there and watch it.
Fantastic.
But
That's cool.
It's hilarious. And I just thought, here's our local rep coming up with something like that.
That is pretty neat. That might get national attention.
He jumped on that social media thing pretty
For someone
fast.
who
That was a
didn't want to
fast
be
learning
involved
curve.
at all, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you use no, wait a minute. I know you use it because I communicate with you, but it's way delayed.
Well, I don't check it as often as I should. I will say that. I've got a farm to take care of and other
understand.
things, but I do use. I use it a little. I don't use it a lot. I don't type really good. That's one subject I wish if I was back at Central or at Eastern that I could have been a little better in. But
Yeah.
no, I really don't use it that much. I was telling Bale there earlier that when you type on
She's going to get you.
when you type on Facebook or something and that little red line comes on there, well, I thought they were highlighting what I was saying, and it's the way you spell it. Well, I didn't know that, but I do now. That is true.
Well, I am not a Facebook fan. For a long time, Chad kept Facebook messaging me and put things on Facebook, and I kept waiting for phone calls or emails.
Well, I'll take,
we had this like communication blackout for a
I take
while.
Facebook any day over topics. I mean, you get on topics and
That's the
You know,
bottom. That's the bottom dwelling of the social media.
I agree. Anybody that gets on there, they don't have nothing to do.
Yeah,
I need to take a
get that.
shower after I get on topics. You are covered with slime. Just even looking at it makes me feel
I mean,
dirty.
it's just not some of the stuff they've said about me or other people that's run for office or whatever. But if you look at it close enough, and I don't get on it anymore, but I've had some people tell me some things that were said, which I said, well, that's your problem for getting on in the first place. But, our young kids that are in high school, it's unreal what they say about things.
Oh, they're abusive.
And that's just not good. It's not good for anyone.
Okay, well, before we get bogged down here, you had one more subject that I wanted to talk about a little bit, and that was some fake receipts that showed up.
Yeah, this just happened yesterday. The state auditor, Adam Edlin, came out with an audit of the Kentucky Emergency Management Department to the tune of, I think, $5.5 million.
That's right, 5.5.
Of misappropriated funds. And one of the things, I was reading through the report yesterday when it came out, and some of the things is they actually made their own fake receipts. And I think the hotel was the Galt House. I'm not sure where they had the conference at. Some of the money was for alcohol and things that they weren't really allowed to take or
to get on public expenses.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what they did is made a fake receipt from the hotel and charged it as rooms, put it down as rooms. Well, the
I'm sorry.
auditor took that to the hotel, and they said, that's not even our receipt. That wasn't printed off on our software.
Okay, well, here's where I really get. Obviously, someone had to tip it off, or they would have never went digging for that one receipt out of the state, the auditor, to go ask about it. Let's say. So
Well, it
what
wasn't
I
just
wanna
that
know-
one. I think that just showed up during their audit. There was a number of things that.
I still think there had to have been a whistleblower. Somebody
Well,
said they were buying alcohol and everything. You know?
One of the problems was employee intimidation. The employee said that they had been intimidated not to cooperate with auditors.
So now we're getting somewhere. Yeah.
Chad, you could be right. If it wasn't a whistleblower, he's a good auditor, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because to pull one little thing out like that, I mean, obviously there's more, $5 million worth, but still, to find one receipt
Well,
and go check
and they'll
it.
do. Jonathan might know this, but I mean, they do a percentage. I mean, they pick random when they're doing an audit.
Yeah.
So chances are, if there's not a pretty good many, chances are you're not going to find that. But it could be that they pulled a certain percentage and checked those. But yeah, I would say there's probably also at least some kind of rumble going around.
Part I read, most of the stuff seemed, there's a governor's emergency management workshop or something like that. They call it the GEMW, was this conference that they put on each year. And most of the things that I looked at seem to revolve around that conference each year, because they'll pay for a block of rooms and they'll have planning meetings, and some of the things they talked about was the expenses that they shown during the planning meetings was way more than, that may have been like $120 some thousand, I think, over what they should have spent for these, just even the meetings, planning the conference.
I'm sorry, Bob, was this state emergency management?
Yeah.
Okay, the state office. Okay.
Yeah. So the audit's been turned over to the governor and the attorney general, and also the Department of Homeland Security, which I guess because of the emergency management stuff, it also is
It comes
tied
under
back
that federal
to,
fund.
Yeah, it does come under.
Which that could be the biggest problem for whoever's in charge.
Well, Homeland Security, that's a big outfit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot involved in Homeland Security. I mean, just not that, but
Yeah,
others.
for it to be at the state level is one thing, but now if they're dragging in the federal thing, there could be some.
It could get pretty dirty. Yeah.
Wow. Well, to keep us informed, you try to get some more dirt for us there. You're good at that.
He's going to be
Show
a
up again.
whistleblower.
You got to show up again, Bob, even if you're not going to be here every week. You got to come back and visit.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here and switch up for the end of the show. But Larry, I do want to thank you for being on here. You're welcome back anytime that you think you got magistrate business you want to share with us. You're our representative. We'd love to have you back.
I appreciate that so much, and thank you. I really enjoyed it, and anytime you need me, I'm available. Like my brother always said, I'm a people's person. I'm here for you. That's who I represent.
Well, thanks
Thanks,
a lot.
Larry. We appreciate it.
Hello and welcome back. This is our final segment of this week's edition of All About Berea. And we've run up pretty much on our time. I had a couple things I wanted to talk about, but I think I'll move that over till next week. And Beth, you actually had something, if you want to plug it. It was a kind of a political rant or something you had talked about.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that next time. Well, I'm just feeling left out. I'm the only one who hasn't had a political rant yet.
Do you know what the subject is, to give them a heads up?
Well, it depends on what day you ask me. But no, I think I have a journalistic rant on print media, and where I see a lot of print media going these days, and so I believe that's going to be my rant, is to talk about the real problem issues we've got.
I kind of had a conversation about that earlier.
Well,
we did.
All right. Well,
and actually, Bob, that's why it was at the forefront of my brain. I had thought about it before, but just kind of some stuff I see happening that we're not just tiptoeing into sensationalism, we're kind of flat out jumping in. So that'll be mine.
okay, we'll look forward to it. Now it's time for this week's calendar of events.
Okay. The second Arts Alive concert will be taking place Friday night, and this will be Robbie Bartlett performing the blues. It's going to take place at Chestnut Street Square beside People's Bank. It's free and will be starting at 7 p.m. If it rains, the rain location is the Russell Acton Folk Center. Also on Friday, there will be a movie at the Madison County Library in Berea, Adventures in Zambezia, at 4 p.m. The movie's for all ages and will take place in the theater. That Friday night, the Kirksville Community Center is going to be holding a Josh Logan concert dance at 7 p.m. Family event with concessions. Admission is $5 with children free under 12. And as we mentioned at our last show, there's going to be the Holler in the Holler from August 9th to 11th, annual music festival from bluegrass to folk to dance. Go to www.homegrownhideaways.org for more information. It takes place on a farm on Floyd Branch Road. This Saturday, kids with bikes might want to head on down to the Berea Municipal Utilities. The city of Berea is going to be holding a bike rodeo. They're invited to bring their bikes for free inspections, and there'll also be a fun obstacle course set up. Officer Wicker from the Berea Department Bike Control is going to be leading a bike ride as well. On Monday, August 12th, Jennifer Farr Davis will be to speak of her record-breaking hike on the Appalachian Trail last year. We had spoken of this at the last show as well. Davis wrote a book about her experience called Again, A Story of Love and Triumph. Those books will be available at her talk. So it'll be Monday at 6:30 p.m. Davis actually hiked the trail in 46 days. I had given the wrong number of days before, but she is actually the first woman to hold the record in several decades. It's always been held by men and often usually runners, whereas what she is a hiker. And next Thursday, August 15th, the Berea Library will hold another afternoon movie, Secret of the Rona Niche. It's going to show at 10 a.m. morning, and that will take place in their theater. And that is it for the calendar of events.
Well, thank you very much. Of course, we want to reiterate that the Celtic Festival is coming up. And that is always a good event, and I know Suna's very excited about it this year.
Yeah, we might have to get him in here, but of course, if we get it in for next week, it's going to be right smack when it's starting. But
Yeah.
that might be it. And also just a bit of fond farewell to Southern Principal David Gilliam. I know he's going to be missed by parents, teachers, students alike. And so I think a lot of people would want to thank him for the years he's put into Southern and wish him well.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a move up for him, and he's been teaching there since he started there when I was in high school. So I know he's got a lot of
So
years.
that was
in.
a long
Well, I just
time
had
ago.
my 20th reunion 2 weekends ago. So
Chad's younger than me, so watch it, buddy.
anyway,
Well, and actually, if you remember, David Gilliam's dad is the one who worked to get the southern part of the county high school and middle school when
Yes,
he was on
John.
the school board.
yes, that he said.
So his ties with Southern ran deep.
That's great. And, of course, we do wish him the best. One more thing that I saw on that calendar was the library that you were talking about, the hiker. That is definitely, I mean, we talked about that in detail last week. And it's funny that you got the days wrong because it's still phenomenal to me.
That she did it within
That
those
she did
days.
it, yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Right.
regardless of messing up or not, this is a big opportunity and I was reading more about her. It should be very enjoyable. Seems like she's a good speaker.
Yeah. She does a lot of speaking engagement. She's won a couple things, National Geographic Adventure of the Year, 2012. But the really interesting thing with me is that the people who had won the record before, it was very much you run it 30 to 50 miles a day, shorter days, and what she did is a lot longer days, just real steady hiking, and she pulled it off.
That's great. Okay, I did go to the Quilt Festival, Quilt Extravaganza, sorry,
Yeah.
and the presentation on barn quilts,
That luncheon?
yes, was phenomenal.
Excellent.
I learned so much. I didn't realize that Kentucky was so late into the game for barn quilts. I thought we were early. No, we were like 7th state. But
Especially with Ohio starting it, which is just north of us.
people were dying to get into this state because I learned something. Kentucky has more barns per square mile than any other place in the world. Did not know that.
Well, I am proud to
gonna
live here. I will tell you that.
Hey, barns are cool. Be nice.
So when Texas decided they wanted to do barn quilts, they didn't have any barns. They had to come up with a new concept. They put them on poles. So that's what.
Oh, I thought Texans went out and
Are you serious?
I'm serious. So
I could put a
anyway,
barn quilt on a pole.
what they do, they just mount it on poles and
Maybe a
just-
pole barn.
yeah, I was about to say it kind of takes away the effect of having a barn quilt. Maybe they should have started the pole quilt.
well, I
What
was
have they
very
got down there? All those great big ranches and stuff?
Yes,
They don't have barns.
and no barns.
Well, they could have done ranches, for goodness sakes.
Well, that's what it is. It's farms that have them in ranches, but they put them up on these poles out in front of their ranch. You know, it's like, look, this is my barn quilt. that
Well, aren't
doesn't
they
have a-
mostly tobacco
It's like,
barns?
you know,
that
it's
we
like you
have?
drive up and you see
probably-
the
Well, and then we have the bourbon barns.
the quilt, and you go.
We have all the
"Something's missing."
barns of sin.
Barns of sin, yeah. We don't have any gambling barns.
No, well, I'll tell you about I think it was my grandfather had a gambling barn.
I love it. Love it.
All right. Well, we're completely out of time. Thanks for listening. I want to thank our sponsors, Good Impressions Design of Berea. Also want to say condolences to Alfredo, who lost his mother this week, and heart goes out to him. I think visitation for his mother is at Olden, Roberts, and Powell Monday evening. So from 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock. So if anybody does business with him, wants to go by and pay respects, please, he would enjoy that. He would appreciate it very much. Also, want to thank BereaOnline.com and the Berea Citizen for making this available, and our host, Mario's Pizza, for letting us set up in here and overtaking the Moose Room for a little while.
Yeah, may I say I find that slightly disturbing, but that's just me.
The moose is getting kind of ragged.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time.
He's peeling. The moose is peeling.
But summer he's molting.
All right, well, thanks for listening. Join us next week for more Berea news.
All About Berea is brought to you by Good Impressions Design. For screen printing, trophies, plaques, signs and more, check out Good Impressions' full line of services, and make a good impression with your business today. On the web at goodimpressionsdesign.com. By the Berea Citizen. Serving the community since 1899, this Berea icon continues to produce award-winning news stories and features. Pick up your copy today, or sign up for a weekly subscription by calling 859-986-0959. By BereaOnline.com. constantly updated, this site is the most up-to-date place to find what's going on in Berea. Loaded with videos, shows, stories, articles and a full calendar of events, this site has been the place to go on the web for Bereans since 1995. The name says it all, it's Berea Online. The opinions expressed on All About Berea are not those of BereaOnline.com, the Berea Citizen, nor any other sponsor. All About Berea is a production of Tech Talk Studios and recorded weekly in Berea, Kentucky, in partnership with the Creative Tech Media Group and BereaOnline.com. All About Berea is co-produced by Rhonda McIntyre, co-produced and directed by Chad Hembry, and finally, our senior news editor is Beth Myers. If you would like to participate in All About Berea, or simply have a suggestion, we would love to hear from you. Just go to BereaOnline.com and click on All About Berea at the top of the page. For sponsorship opportunities, contact the Creative Tech Media Group at creativetechmedia.com or phone 859-626-6054. From all of us here at Tech Talk Studios, and on behalf of the cast and crew of All About Berea, thanks for listening.